Welcome to The Explainer, where today we're diving into a really strange situation, a paradox that's playing out at every single petrol pump across India.
So let's get right to it. You've probably felt it yourself, right? The news is full of talk about an oil crisis and soaring global prices. But when you go to fill up your tank, the price, it's just the same. How is that possible? What is actually going on here?
Just take a look at the numbers in India's major cities. Whether you're in Delhi, Mumbai, or Chennai, the cost for regular petrol and diesel has been incredibly stable. These prices have barely moved in weeks, and it almost feels like we're in a calm bubble, shielded from a really turbulent world.
But, and this is a big but, outside of that bubble, there is a massive storm raging in the global energy markets. A storm that, by all accounts, really should be hitting our shores by now.
You see, the conflict in West Asia sent these immediate shockwaves through the entire market. As this timeline shows, Brent crude, that's the global benchmark for oil prices, it didn't just rise, it skyrocketed past $115 a barrel. And with the critical Strait of Hormuz under threat, which is a choke point for a fifth of the world's oil, well, the whole global supply chain is on high alert.
And if that wasn't enough, we've got a second hit, our currency. With the rupee getting weaker, it means India has to pay more rupees for the exact same barrel of oil. So think about it. Not only is the global price higher, but our power to buy it has gone down. It's a classic double whammy for our import bill.
Okay, so global prices are way up, and the rupee is down. Logically, prices at the pump should be through the roof, so why aren't they? Well, this brings us to the government's direct intervention, which has essentially created a shield for the everyday consumer.
The government has really used a two-part strategy to protect you from all this volatility. First, it sent a clear instruction to the big, state-run oil companies. You will hold the line. Do not raise prices. Then, on March 27th, it delivered a major cut to the central excise duty, slashing it by 10 rupees per liter. That's a direct cushion for all of us.
And this right here is the heart of the paradox. Because that relief you're feeling at the pump, it has to be paid for by someone. This stability isn't free. The cost hasn't disappeared. It's just been moved somewhere else.
So that leads us to the most important question in this whole explainer. Who is actually picking up the tab for this price stability? The answer is a concept called under-recovery. Now, I know, it sounds like some dry industry term, but the idea is actually very simple. It's the massive loss our oil marketing companies, the OMCs, are forced to take on every single liter of fuel they sell. Why? Because they're selling it for way less than it actually costs them to produce and import.
Right, so you're probably wondering just how big are these losses we're talking about. Honestly, the scale of it is pretty staggering. It's almost hard to wrap your head around.
Okay, look at this. For every single liter of petrol that's sold, oil companies are losing 24 rupees. Just think about that for a second. Every time a car fills its tank, the company that provided that fuel is taking a really significant financial hit. But if you think that's a lot, wait till you see the number for diesel. The loss here is a whopping 105 rupees per liter. And that's because diesel is literally the backbone of our economy. It's what powers our trucks, our trains, our agriculture, so the pressure to keep its price low is just immense.
And here's how to put that into perspective. Right now, diesel in Delhi is around 88 rupees a liter. If the oil companies weren't absorbing this cost, that price could be closer to 190 rupees. These under-recoveries are the only thing standing between us and an absolutely economy-shaking price hike.
So all of this immense financial pressure has to go somewhere, right? It can't just vanish. And it is. It's just not showing up in the fuels that most of us use every day. The cost is being passed on, but in other, less obvious ways. This chart shows you exactly where that pressure is being released. Look at the bar for regular petrol. It's totally flat, zero increase. But then look at the high-performance XP100 petrol. That's seen about a 7% jump. And then, aviation fuel. It has more than doubled. That's a massive surge that you know the airlines will eventually have to pass on to travelers. And it's not just the fancy fuels. Businesses are really feeling the heat. The cost of a commercial gas cylinder, the kind restaurants use, has jumped. Industrial diesel has seen a really sharp increase. These are the hidden costs that eventually trickle down and lead to higher prices for everything, from your dinner out to manufactured goods. So, what does this all add up to? Well, it means India is performing this incredibly delicate and very high-stakes balancing act. It's trying to protect millions of consumers without completely crippling its own energy companies in the process. Yeah, it's a classic trade-off, isn't it? The pros are huge and immediate. You're protecting household budgets, you're keeping a lid on inflation. But the cons are just as severe. You're putting this immense strain on our oil companies and key industries. And the biggest risk here is time. This whole model is simply not sustainable if global prices stay this high for too long.
And this quote from the Ministry of Petroleum really confirms the official strategy. Their stated goal is to act as a cushion, a buffer, between all that chaos in the world and the Indian citizen's wallet. And that really leaves us with the critical question. The shield is holding for now. It's protecting us from the global storm. But behind that shield, the financial pressure is building up day by day. So the question isn't if this balancing act can last, but for how much longer. Thanks for joining this explainer.